And as most of you know, I'm the host of A Counselor's Journey to Private Practice. I'm here today to ride with you, to have fun, and to learn all about how to go from solo to group practice in 4 simple steps. Because I think most of us as clinicians, we've probably already done enough complicated things when it came to graduate school and the coursework that we endured. At least I felt that way. So after graduate school, I was like, all right, let me do my work with my patients, but I do not in any way want to feel overwhelmed when it comes to the whole business side. And I created the webinar that we're going to go into and the courses that I'll share with that in mind, allowing you to build success in your journey of private practice without making all the mistakes that I made, falling, screwing up, the whole shebang. So through this journey that we're going to take, you're also going to learn how one therapist transformed their practice. And you can too. Because I think there's something really pivotal about that. Usually our success, we somehow align with somebody else out there and we go, well, you know what? They were able to do it. Maybe I'm able to do it too. So you're here because you want to learn how to build a successful group practice. And I think that's something really beautiful. Obviously, you don't want to build a unsuccessful private practice or group practice, because then things are going to go in the wrong direction. And there's something, really important to just kind of take a moment to stop here and to acknowledge, when it comes to building success, it's really important for us to let go of control, if you will, trust. It's just like graduate school. Whenever I went in there, I had to trust that my professors had, my best interest in mind. I had to trust that my advisors had my best interest in mind. And when your patients work with you, the same thing takes place there. And then here comes my little journey that I always have when I do presentations, and it is getting my screen to move around. So my goal for this training, I love to help clinicians who want to go from solo to group practice so they can make more money, right? Which is really important, and also help more people. And I think those go hand in hand. I know there's a whole conversation we can have about that relationship with money. But typically whenever we are making the amount of money that we want to make, we tend to feel not as overwhelmed, not like a chicken running around without its head off. I want you to avoid all the pitfalls, especially the pitfalls that I've made. Whenever I work with individuals, whether it's through the course I'm going to share on this webinar or through consulting, I try my best to give you as many of my scripts as possible so that you're not going to make those in your journey, so that you don't feel exhausted. So a little bit about my story. Again, my name is Juan, and like you, I wear many hats. And what's always interesting in this picture is that I'm literally wearing the same hat in all of them. But trust me, I have I have more hats than just those 3. And there's a picture of my kids, Nolan and Alex, my wife Elizabeth. And as you could tell, we are silly and we love to travel. I love taking journeys, whether it's with my family or with you here. Just being able to connect with you, one person to another. I guess that's my bread and butter when it comes to, my purpose and why I'm here. A little bit more about me. I was born in the Dominican Republic, and that's me. Super cute, hopefully. My mom, she told me, I'm not sure if she is fibbing, but I've held on to it. So she told me that I came out into this world smiling, and I've kept up with it. I've tried my best to keep up with it, and hopefully I could spread some cheer your way. My dad was the first one to come to the country from the U.S. So we're from the Dominican Republic, and he migrated here first. And it was really, a blessing of opportunities for us to be able to come to the U.S. and to, open new doors for a family. I'll tell you a little story. Growing up, we had dirt floors and wooden windows, and I remember sleeping at night with a mosquito net. And I could share many more stories, but, just those really connect with me. I like to share so that people get to know me at my core. And I'm able to share, the importance of, coming to this country, and then being able to work as a clinician, being able to have a group practice, where there's a culture in there that we all align and we get each other, and we're here to serve those that, wish to work with our practice. I'm a licensed professional counselor in the state of North Carolina, and I have a group practice that my wife and I operate together. So I'm going to tell you that sometimes there are ups and downs, but we try our best to work through them, to do the best that we can as husband and wife, but also as business partners, with that practice. Along with having a private practice, I'm also a consultant, book author, course creator, and the host of the podcast, A Counselor's Journey to Private Practice. As I told you before, like you, I wear a lot of hats. I like to keep busy, and I like to find things that really allow my creativity and my ambition to come out. And it's come out through books that I've written, courses that I've done, and here today, connecting with you. In my years of practice, I have trained hundreds of clinicians on how to build a successful group practice without feeling overwhelmed. And that's really the biggest thing there. We can build six-figure practices, but there's a difference between building a practice, feeling overwhelmed, and building a practice where you have a proven system. I think that's day and night there. You've probably been in situations where you felt overwhelmed, and it really weighs on the body. So a little bit more about me. Whenever I started my journey out of graduate school, I worked for a little bit while in graduate school and then out of it for a nonprofit in my area. And I was making around that $33,000 mark. And something that really stuck out to me was that, I thought to myself and I said, I spent a lot of years in school. As a side note, still in school now, hopefully completing a PhD soon. But I spent a lot of years in school, and it really didn't seem equivalent. Like I said, it's just odd that I'm at 33,000 and I've got, master's degree, a certification, a licensure. It didn't really align. So during that time, I picked up a part-time job too. I was a personal trainer, which was fun. But it kind of just sheds light, that we study so hard and we do our best to do our due diligence. And we're still earning, a wage that, at least for me and the lifestyle that I wanted for my family, my wife and I wanted for our family, it didn't align. We wanted a lifestyle that we didn't feel we were living paycheck to paycheck, or we didn't feel overwhelmed. I didn't want to feel that I had to count heads of patients. I wanted to see them as, as who they are versus, looking at my calendar and saying, do I have enough this week? I really wanted to stay away from that. So knowing that, I had the knowledge from my life and I was still struggling, that's where I started to connect the dots. To connect the dots, say, okay, Juan, you went to graduate school, like so many of you listening now, and, I should have what I need to get to the next level. In growing, my private practice. I think what took place, and most of us can agree and raise our hand and say, yeah, I agree with you, Juan. We didn't get a lot of that business training when it came to graduate school. In private practice, it's at least 50% or more connected to that business savvy. Now, we've got the clinical training where we can help someone transform their life or heal, recover. But that other end, it's very gray. So here's some qualifications. Just like graduate school, before you start your journey to get your master's degree or doctorate degree, there's some qualifications to get in, whether it's a GPA or recommendation letters. Here's the qualifications. I think it's important for us to have that grit. Willing to learn and receive feedback. I would love if you're able to trust the system. Trust me. Trust that I am here to help, here to support, here to get you from a solo to not just a group practice, to a successful group practice where you don't feel overwhelmed. You want to increase your practice income. That's going to come with a group practice. You want to grow with the help of others. That's going to come with a group practice. You want to be an advocate and support others, and I think that just connects to you. So I wanted to put that out there. And then here is a past student, because I think one thing that takes place is that, at least from my end, whenever I see a lot of these programs out there, just like a university, you want to be able to see a story. You want to be able to see someone that has taken it and what they thought. So this is a past student, past individual that I've worked with. And, here's just some really beautiful words that she shared. And I wanted to share these with you so that you're not listening to the webinar and going, all right, awesome information, but who has actually taken this course? Who has worked with Juan before? And, here's what she shared. You're able to read it and go through it. You can pause it if you like. I'm going to just kind of keep going, but share it with you so that it's a proven system, something that I really worked really hard on for a good amount of years. With this process, here's what we're going to cover. And I told you guys, I am moving the screen around so much, but bear with me. We're going to go into number 1 and number 2, 2 secrets. Secret number 1, the truth about building a group practice. Number 2, a 4-part system for increasing your income and building your caseload when going from solo to group practice. Because I think that's really important and essential. We want to be able to increase our income. Otherwise, why are we doing it? We want to be able to build our caseload. Otherwise, why are we doing it? All right, so secret number 1, the truth about building a group practice. So here's what most counselors think. In the years that I've been doing consulting and the years that I've worked with clinicians, I won't be successful in group practice because I have to depend on others. So, sometimes that sticks out there. Before you have a group practice, it's your baby. And we typically have a hard time letting anyone touch our baby. And the story I want to share with you before I hop onto another slide is my baby. When I was out of graduate school and I was starting my private practice, I will tell you, I did not want anyone to answer the phone but me, because I thought that I needed to speak with those potential clients or referral partners or whoever that person was, because I was able to give them something that somebody else couldn't. And man, I believed in that. I did. I felt that there was just something about me communicating with them that no one else could do. And it wasn't like an ego thing. It wasn't a pride thing. It was more of a worry and a fear, to be honest with you. I was worried that if the wrong person communicated with them or somebody else but me, I would lose a client. That if somebody else communicated but me, I would lose a referral partner. Somebody else communicated but me, they wouldn't say the right thing. And that held me back for a good while. I could have had, my wife and I could have started our group practice years back. And that limiting belief there, maybe you share that limiting belief where it's your baby and you don't want to pass it on to somebody else. Through this webinar, through the course that you're going to take from solo to group practice, it's going to help you build confidence, help you feel less overwhelmed, and then show you the success that comes from handing things over. Most therapists think, I've never done it before, so I can't. I don't make enough, I won't be able to do this. And then here's another quick story I want to share with you. We often think, I don't make enough money, so I won't be able to do this. And what's interesting about that is we don't think about how much money the new clinician is going to come in. So an example of that is, let's just throw random numbers out there. Let's say that you charge $100 an hour, right? And let's just say that on Fridays, you've got things going on with your kids. Like for me on Fridays, I typically take off. So that's the day I'm not working, which means that if I'm not working, there's no money being earned, right? If I have a solo practice. But then let's say there's counselor Bob, and Bob says, you know what? I would love to work with your practice. I'm available Fridays. Well, Bob charges, your practice with Bob charges $100. Let's just say you did a 60-40 split. Well, that means now you're getting $60. You didn't have to go to work that day. So you're earning $60. That's where we change our mentality. Instead of saying that limiting belief that I don't make enough money, I won't be able to do a group practice, is the exact opposite. You don't need to make a certain amount of money to have a group practice. You just need to have a foundation there and then a structure to allow you to transition forward. And as I shared before, my practice was my baby. I did not want anyone to hurt it, to get near it. I wanted to answer every phone call. But again, I'm here to tell you, all caps, I was wrong. I was wrong about that. I was avoiding the very thing that transformed my counseling practice in every way. Later down the road, when I was able to hire people and bring people in, it's just nice. What's interesting? I'll share what it is. It gives me a peace of mind. And how interesting is that? I mean, transformational. Because before, I can remember my mindset like it was right now. It was fear, worry. I didn't want somebody to hurt the practice. I didn't want somebody to get near it and lead it in the wrong direction. But now it completely transforms into something else. And you're going to get there too. Whether you're sitting in this webinar presentation and you already have a group practice, or you are thinking about doing it, this course is going to completely transform, the way that you are doing your practice, the way that a group practice should be, so that you're not feeling overwhelmed and you're building success in a very proven manner. Once I did my group practice, once I implemented these systems I'm going to share with you today, here's kind of an increase of what you can see. And before you kind of look at the numbers, I want to share something with you. Here you have that $5,000 mark, $10,000 mark, $15,000 mark. Some clinicians will come up here and say, there's no way. Again, once you add clinicians, let's say if you do 50-50, right? We'll just kind of keep math simple again here. I think numbers speak volume. Let's just say that you are making $5,000, $5,000, $5K a month, right? And let's say you bring one clinician and they bring in $5K a month, right? Well, 50 of that will bring you to $2,500, right? That's math. 2 clinicians will bring you to $5K. So now you are at 10, right? So that's what I'm sharing with you. This is not rocket science. It's just implementing systems. Same thing that goes into school. You go from undergraduate to graduate school. There's a curriculum, And that curriculum is your plan of study. The plan of study gets you from your prereqs to your next courses all the way to graduation. It's not rocket science. It's a system that's proven to get you from A to B so that you're able to get your graduate degree, you're able to get your licensure, and then you're able to practice. Same thing here. It's a system that allows you to get from A to B. All right, let me move my screen one more time. And you're doing awesome out there bearing with me. Another thing that clinicians think is, I don't understand how joining the course will help. And what I want to share with you again is the course is going to allow you to, number one, address that first secret that we talked about. Number two, we're going to go into that 4-part system where you are going to be able to go into the course and then exit with a successful platform for your group practice so that you're operating it. And when I think about operations, I think about really successful businesses, businesses that just flow with really good rhythm. I'll give you an example. The other week I was over at Chick-fil-A, and we get there and then we get in line, and they had workers, some staff outside taking an order. And I thought to myself, I said, what a brilliant system that, it just works so structural and fluid, because there was a huge line there. And I said, if they didn't have a system, all of us will be like waiting, looking at our phones and going, when are we going to get our food? Who's going to come take our order? So that lack of system, doesn't matter how great the chicken sandwich is, the lack of system will make the business go downhill. So what I'm going to teach you here in this course, and one of the reasons that you're going to take the course is because it's going to give you that proven system so that you feel confident in what you're doing and you know exactly how to get from A to B. So secret number 2, I'm going to have you read it, and I am going to get a drink. All right, secret number 2, 4-part system for increasing your income and building your caseload when going from solo to group. All right, so the first part that we're going to get into is your systems to implement. Then we're going to go into onboarding staff and clients. Then we're going to get into tracking and growing. And then we're going to dive into marketing and branding. So hold on tight, buckle up, let's have some fun. As we do these 4 steps, I want you to look at them as mental shifts. And I put shifts in there because I'm a clinician, you're a clinician, right? We're therapists. And often when we work with individuals, we want them to shift their lens, look at things in a different way. An example of this could be if you're working with someone and maybe they said, I was at work and that person looked at me in the wrong way, and then I started to feel really insecure. You may work with your client and say, well, what's a different way to look at that? What if that person looked at you and we had no idea that morning they were going through something really traumatic and they were still carrying that weight with them? Do you think there could be a different lens you could utilize, a different shift in mindset? And then your client may go, well, yeah, maybe I could look at them in a different way and say that, something was going on in their personal life. And I guess, I recorded that in a way that I shouldn't have, or I could have recorded it differently. So we're going to do the same thing here. You're going to have these 4 steps that we're going to look at, but I want you to look at them as shifts so that you're able to implement them effectively in your life. Part number 1, systems to implement. All right, so for the first system, I like to use the example. Here we go, Juan. Let's slow it down. And then let me get my screen over here so it's not in your way. All right, so the first system, part number 1, implementing systems. Some of the best businesses have self-sustaining systems that give customers a great experience. McDonald's, Starbucks, Disney. And a group practice should operate in that similar manner to give it success so that it runs smoothly. I'm not sure if you've ever been to Disney. Something that always amazes me with Disney is the cleanliness of Disney. You go there, you don't see trash everywhere. Something that's really cool with Starbucks is that I can get my phone, and right now I can get on there and I can order my beverage, and then it's going to be ready for me by the time I get there. So that's pretty cool too. Something with McDonald's is that you go through the drive-thru, right? And there's a window to order, a window to pay, a window to pick up. So those are systems that allow the business itself to function. So when you think about your group practice, there's systems that you want to be able to implement. And systems that we can implement in our group practice include finances, EHR, intake, goals, systems that allow the client to go from a potential client to an actual client, systems that allow you to measure intake calls, systems that allow you to account for no-shows, systems that allow you to evaluate money going in and out. Again, my friends, if we don't have these systems, then we have a business that is owned by an individual with their fingers crossed, hoping for the best. No different than what I share with the Starbucks, with Disney, with McDonald's, and so many other businesses out there that are successful. It's important for us, when we're building a group practice, to take a step back. I know that you're eager beaver. I sure was. I dove into graduate school like a 12-year-old kid that's never learned how to swim into a pool. And if it were not for the help of my wife, I would have been, in much worse condition. But here, what I want to share with you is taking time, giving yourself some space and time to say, okay, my financial system, is there a system there? And how effective is it? And how do I measure it? My clients, how do I take someone from a potential client, I don't even know them, to an actual client? What's that structure? What's that system there? Same thing with McDonald's. What is the system to get someone that says, I want McDonald's, I'm going to go through the drive-thru, to get them from one window all the way to the other one? So we also want systems to protect your practice. And throughout this webinar, I'm going to do my best to lead you in different directions. Lead you in directions where I'm going to provide you some feedback, lead you in directions where I'm going to refer you to a different area. And that's no different than what you do in your clinical world, right? From one clinician to another, you may be working with someone that is struggling, let's say, with anxiety. And then you work with them on, let's say, CBT, right? Or through that practice. But then you find yourself thinking, you know what? I think exercise would be an awesome idea for my patient. So then you may recommend them to a local gym in your area because you have a referral partner there. Same thing here. So what I want to share with you with the system is taking some time to look at different insurance organizations such as HPSO, other ones. That way you are protecting your practice. Next place we want to go to is onboarding staff and clients. So whenever we're onboarding staff and clients, what's important for us to do beforehand is to identify a mission and a vision. Successful businesses are driven by a guiding mission and vision. And all you have to do to kind of, let me roll back a little bit, eager beaver here today. All you have to do is go online, Google any cool business that you really fancy, and look up their mission statement. Look up their vision. You're going to see something with clarity. You're going to see something that connects to that entire system of their staff, their culture. With your group practice, let's say you hired someone. It's important for that someone to come in and to have an onboarding process, for them to know what your business is about and how they connect with it. There's some visual onboarding systems that we see. So let's say you work at Chick-fil-A, we'll just use that one, right? You notice that they have uniforms they wear. So that's part of that culture. That's part of that mission and vision. It's important with your organization, your group practice, to think about what is the mission that we have and what is the vision? And then how do I verbalize that to my employees, whether it's W-2, 1099, whoever the individual is. And then how do we make sure we sustain it? Otherwise, things can get really messy. You may have this vision of what you want to do in your business. And you may do it every day with your patients. And things up here may be functioning really well for you. But then you've hired, Bob, right? And then Bob comes in, and he's a great clinician, but he doesn't really get what the whole mission here is, or the vision, or where you're going. He's trying to make a buck, right? He's got kids to feed, he needs to take care of his own business and things on his side. So he may go in the wrong direction. And then what that does is it starts to hurt your business because we're not aligned. Next place we want to look at when it comes to onboarding staff and clients is the culture. When you think about culture, I like to play with the idea of thinking about the best place that you worked at, your best work experience. And then as you think about it, I want you to think about what about it? Why did you like it? I used to work at this park. I'll share this with you. And what I enjoyed about the park was we had a supervisor, and he always mentored me. He would always give me words of support, words of affirmation, words of kindness. He would ask me about, my goals and why I worked and where I wanted to get to. The co-workers, we would have lunch together. We would, excuse me, my throat was just acting up today. So those key components there, right? That supervisor taking time to connect with me. My co-workers, all of us having that time together. That's part of a work culture. With your group practice, it's your baby, your practice. You can create whatever work culture you want. The importance is that there has to be one. If not, things get really sloppy. It'd be like going to your job, but you're not sure what you're supposed to do other than the basic trade functions. such as see your patients, but you don't know anything else. That allows for things to kind of go in so many different directions. Once you have a clear vision, a clear mission, a clear work culture, it's a smooth onboarding practice. A new staff comes in or a new client comes in, they know exactly what to do. Some people out there, you may find yourself in a position to go, well, should I go 1099 or W-2? My best recommendation is to approach this in 3 ways. Talk to your accountant, number 1, talk to your business attorney, number 2, and then think about what you would like to do. Some practices out there I've worked with where they want a W-2 to come in, typically with a W-2. And what I'm going to share here with you is a lot of the content that I may share that has to do with W-2 detail, insurance detail. I am not a business attorney. I am not an accountant or CPA. So I'm just sharing this from my experience, not from the experience of that professional depth. So certainly take time to do that. I've done that with myself. I encourage those to take the course, those that I engage with in consulting to do the same thing. I'll share with you my experience. With a W-2, I didn't want to set anyone's schedule. I wanted that person to have that freedom, which was part of the work culture within my organization. I wanted them to have that freedom of flexibility. I wanted to have an idea as they were on board through the onboarding process of hiring, how many hours are you looking to work? So that gives me an idea, but I'm not setting their schedule. They set their own schedule. And then from my perspective as the owner, I have an idea that, okay, Bob's coming in and Bob's wanting 20 to 30 hours. So I know what marketing details need to be taking place to get him to that point. Versus a W-2, you set their schedule. Again, just take time. Take time to take some deep breaths and consider sitting down with an accountant, do some Google research, the CPA, business attorney, and those individuals are going to lead you in the right direction. Onboarding staff and clients. The next task that we want to look at with onboarding is delegating tasks. Delegating tasks was one of the most difficult things that I had to do. Because it removed some of the control within my practice. Again, I shared with you the practice being my baby. So when it came to, me going, what, I'm not going to answer every email. That was difficult. It was difficult because I wanted to make sure X, Y, and Z were being said on there. However, right, this is the whole transformation and mental shifts. Now that, I have my VA, doing those things, it's a peace of mind because I know that she has the practice, best interest in the practice. She's part of the mission, part of the vision, part of the work culture. I've taken tons of time to sit down with her and just to build a relationship, get to know her life. She knows mine, my life, so that we know we're going in the right direction. And then there's all these systems of communication within there if we get stuck at all. With delegating tasks, what I want to encourage you to do is to really think about all the difficult tasks that you have. Write them down. Get a sheet of paper and just write all that down. Everything from calling somebody, following up on the call, checking the email, putting the ad if you're hiring someone, going through the screening process, following up in the interview, janitor work, everything in there. And then once you write it down, then look at delegating it to certain individuals. And again, what I'm sharing here with you is covered, full depth when you go into the course, so that you're able to know exactly what to do when it comes to delegating, when it comes to every part of building a successful group practice. And I didn't put this into the group practice title, 6 figures. But yes, you can completely get to 6 figures. You can get to 7 figures. You can go up and up and up. It just depends on your culture, your vision, your mission. What are you looking for? There's group practices out there that have, a large amount of staff. And when you think about that, numbers start to go up, 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 up. So that's something important for you to consider. Part number 3, tracking and growing. We got to do it. In order to grow, we need to track. Tracking leads to growth. Those two have to go together. So what I want you to think about here, let me move this over a little bit. What I want you to think about here is, how do you know if your business is thriving, right? How do you know if your business is doing a good job or doing well? This question aims to push you to understand metrics. In turn, metrics help business owners learn what to do versus what not to do. Here's some key areas to track: incoming calls, referral parties, hotel vacancy rate. And you're like, Juan, it's not a hotel. What are you doing, man? We're talking about a private practice. I like the idea of a hotel vacancy because, you drive by and it says like red for not vacant, green for vacant. So with your system, right? I'll do an example here so you kind of get an idea of what the course and how deep it goes into supporting you in your journey of feeling everything other than overwhelmed, and really deep into building success in a group practice. When it comes to tracking, it's important to know if you're full, why you're full, right? Are you full just out of luck? It's just a random, month and some shit happened? Or are you full because your referral partners and which ones specifically referred to you? Are you full because you've been paying a couple of $100s a month for your Google ads and the conversion rate from that Google ad? Are you full because you've got Facebook ads running and excuse me, you're able to track those Facebook ads? I'm gonna take a quick water break. Labor of speaking. So you want to be able to identify this specifically. And then here comes the tracking and growth part. So you may be thinking, all right, so I know that I'm full because my referral partners ABC are referring people to me. And then your Google ads is saying a certain amount. Once you have all these metrics and figures into play, you know how to shift your money. An example of that would be, let's say that I have a 3-month process through the summer month, right? Usually that's a slump for most people. And I noticed that in those 3 months, my referral partners are bringing in 80% of my clients. My Google ads are bringing in 10% of my clients. And then the other 10 are coming through, let's say, Psychology Today, which is a side note. If you haven't done so already, check out a Counselor's Journey to Private Practice website. It's a free course, Psychology Today. It tells you exactly what you need to do to build your income and increase your caseload by taking that course, the Psychology Today course. So with these metrics, right, you're able to shift things around. So for that month, let's say that those 3 months are in a summer slump. Let's say that for the past 2 years, you've been recording it and you notice that 0 come through Facebook ads or 0 come through some ads you're running on other social media platforms. That tells you to pause those ads. There's no sense of spending that money if the conversion is not coming in. What takes place is this, and it usually takes place at a higher capacity than what I like to see. But a lot of clinicians with their practices will have referral partners that they're building relationships with. They'll have ads they're doing. And then when I go to the question, I'm sitting down with them and I said, okay, how many clients have your referral partners brought in the last month, 2 months, 3 months, or your ads, organic versus paid? They don't know the answer. And that's very troublesome. It would be just like you're in graduate school. And in the very beginning, you have your plan of study and you know when you're going to graduate. But then I ask you that question and I go, what's your expected graduation? And you go, I don't know. But then I go, well, why don't you know? And then you're like, well, I'm not sure. I'm kind of just taking classes and hoping for the best. So far, so good. I get that some people function that way. However, when it comes to building a business, we have to go into that business entrepreneur mindset. A student that's in a successful track would say, I got 2 years left. I go, well, why do you have 2 years left? Well, here's my plan of study, Juan. And I've taken these courses, these prereqs. So if I get these knocked out this semester and those knocked out the following semester, I'll be able to go into practicum, internship, and then I'm good. So that's a system there. Same thing that we're teaching here. Tracking systems allow space to develop strategies for growth, which is what we just shared. It's something that successful businesses continue to do. And again, I want you to consider businesses, in your area, the successful ones. Think about how they're tracking things. One of the areas that I notice now is the rise of technology and online shopping. So if you go back, years back, let's say 10, 20 years back, think about online shopping compared to now. Stores like Walmart or Target, and you see the rise of Amazon, right? So a lot of these stores are allowing us to get on our phone and shop for whatever we want. And a lot of the stores in that 10, 20 year mark started to increase that availability because that was part of the market. So we want to do the same thing too. We want to be able to acknowledge, how do I continue to grow in my business? And it's for us as clinicians, it's also shifting to the online space. So if you're wanting to grow your business, one thing that I encourage you to do in your group practice is to consider all the avenues a client can reach out to you, right? So then once you have all the avenues they can reach out to you, you go back to tracking the metrics. Consider how many are coming organic through referral partners, how many are just walk-ins, how many are coming through different ads that you're doing. And then that allows us to know what to do effectively when we are running a successful group practice. So let's go to the next one. Let's play with one of the most common questions. When is the right time to transition to a group practice? And this is a question a lot of people ask. I think sometimes it comes out of worry, or maybe just, we want to know. Most of us do want to know before we, take the next step. So areas to focus on is a wait list. If you have a wait list, that gives you an idea that people are seeking your service and somebody else could be working with them. It doesn't necessarily have to be you. It's just somebody else. More than likely, they've already built trust with your brand, with your practice. I found myself in this situation, years back, and I still hadn't gone into a group practice. Again, with that worry that, I've got a wait list of like 5 or 6 people and they're wanting to work with me. It didn't come to me that, I have a wait list of 5 to 6 people and they're wanting support. That's very different than they're wanting to work with me. They're wanting support. And later I learned that, even when people reach out to me now, I may get a call and our intake coordinator, will communicate with them, and then she'll say, hey, Juan, someone was reaching out to you, but I shared with them that you're full for the next 2 months. And they went ahead and got an appointment with another clinician in the office. So it gives you the idea, right, that we're looking for support. The other area to look at is referrals per number of referral partners. So let's say that you have 5 referral partners, right? And each referral partner sends you 5 clients, let's just say a month. 5 times 5 is 25. Let's say that you only want to work 20 hours a week. That means that, of course, you have that wait list, but also that your referral partners are supplying you enough clients for you to bring somebody else in. And then your caseload. Think about your caseload. This is one where it relates to your lifestyle. I've worked with clinicians that have went through the course and they go, you know what, I just want 10. I don't want no more than 10 clients, which is fine. Some individuals want 40 clients. So when you think about that, that gives you an idea of how to build and how to expand your practice. Part 4, let me get another water break. My throat needs a little soothing. All right, part 4, marketing and branding. This seems to be the most exciting part for clinicians. And you're probably wondering like, oh, Juan, why did you put it last? I did it on purpose. And the reason I did it on purpose is, let's say that you have a group practice and you have the very best marketing out there and you get that person and they come to your practice, but they get there and it's a shitty experience. They're probably not going to come back, right? That's really important for us to know. Your marketing could be, just off the wall, just top tier marketing and branding. But if the person gets there and the systems are not in order, logistics is not in order, tracking and growth is not in order, the system itself, the whole infrastructure of the system is going to over time go downhill because we don't have that parallel relationship. So marketing and branding, learning how to set your practice up for success by creating systems of marketing funnels. And you may be thinking what a marketing funnel is. Basically, marketing funnels are systems that lead to blank to the desired target goal. And then you fill in whatever blank that is. Whenever you think about, sorry, I didn't mean to bounce there. Whenever you think about, this idea of a marketing funnel, there's tons of different ones. We see them on a Facebook ad. It could be an ad that's on Facebook that says, are you struggling with depression? And then from there you click it and then it leads to your website. And then from there you potentially have a new client. It could be that you put a flyer, at a coffee shop and then someone sees it, right? And then that leads to a conversion. It's some sort of funnel. And I like to look at the funnel system like this, where you're doing things up here to get them to a target place. So an example of one that I'll share with you is where you have a call to action. So a call to action is something that sticks out. Let's say that it is that same Facebook ad out there, right? And there's a Facebook ad and it says 5 days to reduce negative thoughts. And of course, some of you out there may be going, well, it may take more than 5 days. The point of these is just a starter, just a stepping stone. So 5 days to reduce negative thoughts, right? Your ideal client sees it on Facebook. And then from there, they click on it and they go, yeah, I want to reduce negative thoughts. So then that takes them to your email list. And then your email list focuses on building a relationship with them and providing the 5 days of actions aimed to reduce negative thoughts. Your email list may, have their email insert, their name insert. So now you have a name, you have an email. And then over time, you send things like, hey, how's it going? Hope you have a good Monday. Here's the first thing that I want you to do today to reduce your negative thoughts. And the next day you add something and so forth. Emails work to convert the person to a client, to your practice, due to receiving that helpful support. So if I'm on your email list and the first one, you're sending me one really cool thing to do to reduce my thoughts, and then the next day you send me another really cool thing. Well, what if on the fifth day I'm like, man, I really enjoy getting these emails. I wonder what more they have to offer. And then I go and I schedule an appointment with you. Or if you get savvy, you can have an email list where you are able to sell products and all sorts of different avenues you could take there. Marketing is about building relationships with people that can create change. You can utilize marketing with the very clients that you serve by providing a great value that in turn leads to referrals. So the first part I want to share with you is marketing. Marketing is something that we want to look at in branding from a very conscious, purposeful perspective. So an example of that would be you have the option to build referral partners with everyone in the community, or you have the option to build relationships with referral partners with specific ones that can create change. So let's say that you are a clinician that helps anxious individuals, and you have an option. You have the option to work with a local psychiatrist who's a referral partner, or you have an option to work with, and we'll get more specific, so anxious adults. You have the option to work with a pediatric office, right? Now, both of those are likely to lead you referrals, but we may say that the psychiatrist's office is more likely because maybe anxious individuals, anxious adults in that area are seeking medication management. So what I want you to think about whenever you're marketing, I want you to think about your ideal client, right? I work with couples that are struggling. And then I want you to think about, okay, my client, where would they go? Other than seeking my services, they may go to a massage therapist for couples, right? Because that makes sense. Couples will go to a massage therapist. They may go to a local OBGYN, right? And then once you get the list of these ideal places that connect to your ideal client, you are thinking purposefully. And then that allows you to now create this beautiful list of a exact or close to exact foundation of the referral partners that are going to feed your practice versus just really, too scattered. The other part that we want to look at is marketing from a service perspective. So the example that I like to give individuals here is whenever you think about marketing and branding, I am your client, right? And I get to your office. If I get to your office and it's poorly lit, let's say there's no music, it's just, space, blank noise, whatever that term is. And let's say that the furniture is just not in the best condition. There's no one there to, acknowledge that I'm there. Maybe there's no snacks or anything like that. I don't see any intake paperwork for me to complete. And then, 1 minute before the session, you walk out with the other client and you guys say goodbye to each other. And then you approach me and then we start our session, right? So that's option one. And it's an awesome session. Option two, I come into the office and it's well lit. There's a TV playing and it's got some nature, stuff going on. There's a little snack bar. There's some water, some Gatorade. There's some magazines because I want to read it. There's a sign that says, hey, new clients, we love that you're here. If you haven't done so already, complete the intake documents below or visit this link and then complete them online. Your therapist will be with you shortly. Feel free to get snacks, make yourself at home. Right? So now you have these two different experiences. Each of those experiences haven't even gotten to why the person's there. The person's there to work on therapy, right? To work on that clinical service. However, I think all of us can raise our hand and acknowledge the power behind customer service. Because most of us have been to places, whether it's a restaurant, a store, and we leave and we talk about the experience of the customer service. And in that same philosophy you want to bring into here. You give your clients an excellent customer service along with a therapy experience, and that's going to allow your practice to grow exponentially. And then as you're doing this, I want you to think about something. It's a group practice now. I want you to think about your work culture, your mission, your vision, how all of that aligns. So when you're onboarding a new staff, whether it's a staff that does administrative work or a staff that does clinical work, onboarding them with the idea, with the foundation of a marketing philosophy, a branding philosophy, so that it goes into the culture and the mission and the vision. So one thing we want to look at is conversions. So this has to do with paid conversions. Some individuals take the organic route, which you touched on that, and some take the paid route. What I want to share with you here is numbers and the impact that they have. So let's say that you charge $100 for a therapy session, right? And you have 150 new visitors to your website, right? And your website, let's say your website is called blank counseling practice, and you have a Google ad. And each person that gets on there is costing you $2, right? And your fee is $100 for a therapy session. And there's 150 people that just landed on your website, right? So we're also going to say that your website converts at 6%, right? So far we've got these numbers, big right there, right in front of you. And then we're going to say that 9 new clients are coming in from that process. Right, so that's costing you $33.33 per client. So that's what you're paying up front, doing this ad. So here's the math broken down. You have 150 potential clients that saw that Google ad. Maybe the Google ad said, "Are you struggling in your relationship? We would love for you to work with one of our counselors. We help couples that are ready to go from stuck to deeply connected. Call today or visit our website," right? And they click on it. They go, "Yes, I want that." And that takes them to your website. So there's 150 potential people that got to your website using that link. All of that you are tracking. Yes, you're tracking, right? We went over that in the webinar, and then you're measuring it. And it costs you $2 a click. So that comes out to $300 spent for the month on the paid advertisement. So you're paying up front the $300. That divided by 9 clients comes out to $33.33 per client, right? Your fee is $100 per client. So here's the simple math. One client costs you $33.33. You charge $100. 100 minus 33 means that you are earning $66.67. So this is the whole math behind why individuals do the paid route versus why individuals do the organic. In my experience, I found that the beautiful mixture is what allows it to work. Just like baking, right? When you bake and you want to come out with a good tasting cake, you got to mix some things up. So the same thing I really encourage here. When it comes to marketing, most therapists think I don't know what to focus on in order to actually get new clients. Oops, let's go back. So I want to share with you what to focus on. The areas we want to focus on is sometimes therapists do everything other than what we really need to do. What I mean by everything is I got out of graduate school and I got on Good Therapy, Psychology Today, TheraVive. I started to go to all these different locations like doctor's office, pediatrician offices, massage therapists. I started going everywhere. I mean, you notice that as I'm sharing it with you. And it was so scattered and there was no tracking that it really led to a mess. It led to fingers crossed that doing all of that shit, like 100 of those things, something in there would work. Whereas it's important for us to, as shared in this webinar and as you're going to do in the course, let's have something more effective. You wouldn't just go to graduate school and go, yeah, I want to get that master's degree and be a licensed clinician. So I'm just going to go from this department to that department. I'm going to take some earth science and I'm going to take some physics and some random stuff. You would go in there and have a system that works, that gets you from A to B. Most therapists feel lost when it comes to marketing, which makes sense. I have no recollection of one graduate course that I took in my counseling program that had to do with marketing. Most therapists feel like failures when it comes to marketing, which also makes sense because sometimes we don't want to be that cheesy salesperson. Oh, that was icky. I did not like that. I remember I would go to like a doctor's office and it would just feel so odd in the beginning. I'd be like, hey, I'm Juan, I have a practice. I would love if we could work together. Just saying it didn't really feel good. And it's because, in graduate school, I don't think we were pushed to do that. We were pushed more to focus on the clinical side and to have this idea that clients would just be there. There's tons of humans out there and they're just going to be there. Somehow magically, boop, they're just going to pop up. But obviously that didn't happen. And I think sometimes, these 3 areas that I shared with you is what really holds us back. Here's another story I want to share with you, and I'll give you some time to read it. This individual went through the course, and, they were able to really show some really good feedback. And again, I think it's important for us, for us to look at before we do something, who else has done it and how effective has it been, so that you have that validity, right? Or reliability, one of those terms there, so that you're able to say, okay, I'm ready to take this course. I'm ready to stop feeling overwhelmed. I'm ready to build a successful, group practice that's going to allow me to level up. So let me ask you a question. Are you enjoying this training so far? If you are, I'm big into social media. I have an Instagram account at a counselor's journey. Check it out if you get a chance. Take a picture of this and then tag me on Instagram, and then I'm going to tag you back. We're going to build a relationship and get to know each other. So what have we covered? We've covered secret number 1, the truth about building a group practice. Number 2, the 4-part system for increasing your income and building your caseload and going from solo to group. So who wants to take things to the next level? Which is why you're here. You deserve to have a successful group practice. You deserve to stop feeling overwhelmed. We all acknowledge that we didn't get half of the marketing and the business savvy. None of that shit we got in graduate school. We got what we needed from a clinical perspective. I feel really confident, really good when I'm working with my patients. But then there's that other 50%, so it's not even 60%, that has to do with marketing, building funnels, having systems, having a work culture, all of those details. That's exactly what you're going to get here. And I'm not going to give it to you in a way that's overwhelming. It's at your own pace. So I want to introduce a proven system to help you build a group practice in 4 simple steps. And again, remember the steps. The steps are shifts, shifts that you're going to take. Our training program teaches you how to set up our system over the course or just over a few short weeks. It's really up to you. If you want to do this ASAP, you could dive in and do it ASAP. If you want to take some time, you can do that. But for most students that have gone in, they're able to go in a few short weeks. They are moving forward, like never before. So here's what you get. I don't know why I went from here's what you get to that one, but we're just going to roll through it. I'll share with you what you get. You're going to get the course, and then in the course, you're going to be able to identify exactly what you need to do to build your group practice. And as I shared before, I didn't put that 6-figure mark, but I strongly believe in it. I've worked with clinicians that have over that 6-figure mark. We're able to get them to that point. My practice is over that point, and I certainly don't see any reason why yours should not be over that point or beyond it. Who this course is not for. Now, I think it's important for us to get this. In graduate school and undergrad, there's weeding out processes, and those are there for a reason, I think. but I think it's important for us to acknowledge that here. People who make excuses and complain. I know that's not you, but I wanted to throw it out there. People who get stuck on information gathering, that was me and way back in the day. And you know what information gathering is? When you get on Google and you start just looking up way too many things. You're going in there, you're going, how to start a practice, how to make more money, how to build passive income. And there's no actions. So this course is all about action. It's about conversion. You get the information. It tells you exactly what you need to do so that you can make that conversion right away. Therapists who don't want to make more money, which I put that one and I was like, everyone's gonna, get a good laugh out of that one. Therapists who aren't serious about growing their business. And that was important too. Your business, yes, it's your baby and it's transforming into a group practice, or it's already a group practice. But I think it's important for us to give it that seriousness that it needs, just like your graduate school training, or just as importantly, the patients that you work with. It's important to be there, to consciously be there with them. So the same thing here with your business. I think you being in this training and getting ready to start the course, it shows how serious you are about it. Now, who the course is for? Counselors, therapists, and psychologists in private practice. And then within counselors and therapists, of course, all domains, social workers, all individuals in private practice. Just starting out or seasoned veteran, solo practitioner or a current group practice owner, therapists who take responsibility for the growth of their business, therapists who want to help more people and make more money, therapists who are smart, motivated, and ready to get things done. Thank you for bearing with me. All right, let me move my screen out the way once more. Number one reason why people don't get started. You might be thinking you can't get started because I might join and get stuck or overwhelmed. Here's the good news, 2 thumbs up for it. You can take advantage of all the amazing support we offer when you join so that you don't get stuck or overwhelmed. And of course, I'm going to be there with you. If you have questions, if you need help, I am literally right there the entire way. So here's what you're going to get. The course is valued at $3,995. And you're probably thinking, yeah, I'm about to click out of this webinar. I'm not paying for that. No, that's just the value of it. Like when I started adding things up, I said, okay, this is how much time, how many years of practice, how much energy went into all of these places. No different than your value when you work with a patient, right? Because you think about the hours that you put into it, the note that you're going to have to do for them, and that comes into a certain value, whether your value is $100 an hour or $200 an hour. No different here. You also get tools. With these tools, you'll be able to set up your practice effectively, get new clients consistently, build referrals, and increase your practice income. With these tools, we are going to get rid of stress, get rid of feeling overwhelmed, no more of that trial and error, and we're going to stop guessing. Instead, we're going to shift to solving problems, getting new clients consistently, saving money. You don't have to start from scratch. You don't have to go through all the painful experiences I went through. You don't have to go into this course and say, okay, I need another one. It's here. I've taken time to consciously focus on what do you need to do to build a highly successful group practice that allows you to feel confident, everything but overwhelmed and successful. You might be thinking, I can't do this because I'm not super tech savvy. I don't have a huge budget. I don't have a lot of time. And all these, you don't have to be tech savvy. You don't need a huge budget. I'm not going to make you pay, an arm and a leg. You've already paid enough money to graduate school. And this course, you could take time, take the time that you need to get from A to B. So the course value is shared before, $3,395. There's templates in there. There's an intake packet. There is a marketing library, and it all came out to, once I did it, to $5,588. And I thought that was pretty cool because for me, it shows the amount of work and dedication that I put into it. But of course, I'm not going to charge you that amount of money. Lifetime access to all the trainings, materials, and resources is what you're going to get, as well as a thriving private practice online community. That was a group of individuals just like you. I'm going to be in there. We're going to get to know each other. We're going to have a lot of questions, have answers to them, and support each other along the way, in our journey of private practice. Now, obviously, as I shared before, over and over, I'm not going to charge you $5,588. But if I did charge you $5,580 and all it did was show you how to finally create a thriving group practice and build income, would it be worth it to you? If all the system got you was 10 new clients a month for as long as you're in private practice, is that worth it? 10 new clients a month comes out to $1,000. If this course costs you $5,588, you would need how many months? Let's do simple math. 1,000 a month. So you would need 6 months. 6 months of course client work, and then you would have paid this course off. And that's where, again, math, gives us the idea of something, really interesting to look at. So I'm giving you a very special discount today because I find that people who are ready to dive in and get the work done tend to get the best results. I'm not going to make you pay $5,588. I'm not going to make you pay the regular price of $3,395. Today, you're going to pay $97. And you may be thinking, why $97? Again, I'm going to share something with you really simple. I have taken a lot of different courses, and some of them I paid a high ticket, and they weren't really a good experience. It wasn't something that I can kind of take a step back and say, there was that value in there. I think that when it comes to our clinical work, you have so much that you're doing with your patients. You're serving them and you're showing up for them. I don't want to put any kind of stress on you to feel that you need to pay this huge amount of money for a course. I believe in the course. You have proof through this webinar of different individuals that have taken the course. So I know that it's going to allow you to feel less overwhelmed. It's going to allow you to build success. It's going to allow you to level up and scale up your group practice. And that all that doesn't necessarily have to come with a huge amount that you're going to be paying. So $97 for me, for Juan here, $97 is a fair price. And if this wasn't enough, here's a bonus. A bonus is you get a free 30-minute level up private coaching session with me. And that, as soon as you get into the course, reach out to me and then we'll get it started. And then there's one last discount that you get. And this discount right now is taking place for the early birds. Right now I'm doing the first wave of launch for this course. So if you use the discount code at checkout, early bird, you'll receive 50% off the course. And then all you have to do is go to acounselorsjourney.com/start a group therapy practice. Once you get there, you will be able to click that link to purchase a course. Make sure you put that discount code so you get 50% off. And then once you take the course, don't forget, you get that 30-minute free private practice coaching session with me, which I'm excited. I'm excited to get to know you, get to see what your goals are, and then, give you as much feedback as I can at that time. Again, thank you for being here. Thank you for taking time to do this, to hopefully enjoy and get some good laughs out of this webinar. I am excited, and I will see you in the course.